Hey guys, it's Damien here from the School of Attraction. Now, I know that the title of this video could appear a little bit clickbaity, but bear with me because today I really am going to talk to you about why having access, connection with the darker parts of who you are and letting those aspects of who you are actually come through in interactions with women isn't just desirable, it's sexy from a woman's standpoint and will actually improve not just your ability to attract women, but actually hold on to women in long-term relationships. So this all began with a conversation that I had with my ex. See, my ex and I were together for 12 years, and it so happens that we have a dog together. And that dog is kind of like a child, and that child is really happy if it occasionally gets to see its mom and dad like around each other at the same time. It's a very safe space for her. So normally, like once a week or so, we try to take her out together to a park and just walk with the dog and make her happy. Anyway, we were on this walk and we were talking about our dating lives, talking about dating in general, what we'd been experiencing. And my ex is a pretty switched on woman. And she said, okay, here's the thing that really gets me annoyed about guys. And, she gets worked up about stuff. She's a very passionate human being. And she said, here's what pisses me off. She said, all these guys that I meet think they're goddamn princes, right? They think they're such wonderful human beings. They're really good people. They're lovely human beings. And she said, but they're not. She said, when I can see all the stuff that's happening inside in their heads, she's like, they're not. She said, every guy has the ability to be an asshole. There is creepy. She used the word creepy. There is a creepy asshole inside of every single man. She said, I am so sick of guys trying to pretend like it's not there because I don't trust it. I don't trust a single guy who comes along and tries to be she uses the word prince, tries to be a lord, right? This amazing guy who's lovely, who does no wrong. And she was having this rant about it. But it was very valid, right? It's very valid because I do a lot of men's work and shadow work with guys. And here's the thing that I see in the shadow work and men's work retreats that I run in the Blue Mountains in Sydney, as well as the dating coaching that I do. See, a lot of guys, there's a lot of talk about not being too nice with women, right? And a lot of guys have had this experience where they see these guys who are a-holes and they go out and they get all the chicks. And that's always frustrating, right? Because you think, well, why does a guy have to be an a-hole to get women? You don't have to be an a-hole. But here's the thing. I know when I work with men, whether it's in shadow work or in dating, I know that if you say the words or have the mindset, so here's the key. If you have the mindset of, I'm not like other guys. If you have the mindset of, I am a good person through and through. If that's how you see yourself, this is the beginning of a problem. See, we're not good people. I don't care who you are. You're not intrinsically good or bad. You're you, right? And inside of you, there is a bunch of testosterone. If you're a male watching this video, there's a bunch of testosterone and other hormones going through your body. You're what was a wild animal who's tried to tame themselves. There's a lot about you that's not nice. It's a bit nasty, and it's a bit like these desires, these wants. They can be selfish, they can be mean, they can be cruel. Like if you've ever walked around with this revenge fantasy in your head because someone did you wrong, you know what I mean. And if you haven't had that, you're lying to me because you have. We've all done it, right? There's a mean part of us that's petty and cruel and selfish that exists in every single man. It exists in women too, but we're talking about men. It exists in all of us. And unfortunately, one way that a lot of men try to differentiate themselves in lives early on is they can go, well, you know what? I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to be different. I'm going to make the choice to not be like those men. So now I'm not like those men. And what they do is they suppress all the darkest part of who they are, and they deny it. And they just go off into the world being nice, like being a prince, as my ex would say. Another group of guys, what they do is they just be an a-hole, right? They just can't be like that. And the problem is that those aren't the only two options. But if women have to choose between one and the other, they're going to choose the a-hole. Now, they're not picking a guy who just treats them mean all the time, right? Women aren't dating guys who treat them like rubbish all the time. What they're doing is they're picking a guy who treats her nicely at least a good amount of the time, even if he's a horrible a-hole the rest of the time, right? Over a guy who's just always nice. Because we are wired to like men and women. So men are wired to like women in their more natural state. Like women are wired to like men in the more natural state. And in our more natural state, we're not so nice all the time. That's not human, right? So when women date bad boys, they're dating a guy who is an a-hole to most people, but particularly nice to her, especially in the beginning. This is a bit of a theme, right? It's a man who's capable of being dangerous, of being bad. Look at the Twilight Saga, right? And you look at how like the main two protagonists, right? Edward wants to kill this girl. Literally, his desire is to murder her, right? And drink all her blood. But he doesn't. He instead decides to treat her well. And she knows that, right? That's not hidden from her for very long, right? She can feel that what he wants to do is kill her, but he decides not to. This is really at the core of human attraction, right? Women are turned on by a man who is dangerous and decides not to be dangerous to her. Makes a choice, right? This is the healthiest space that you can be in a relationship. It's the healthiest space that you can be in when you're going to a bar trying to meet women, at a party trying to meet women. You need to be okay that you are a bit of an a-hole, okay? Doesn't mean you have to behave like one, but you have to own it. You have to get that those emotions are there. You have to acknowledge them to her, especially as it becomes a relationship. Acknowledge, these are the things I want. These are the things I'm feeling. They're not nice. They're not pleasant. They're not pretty, but they're there. And this is otherwise known as our shadow. And this comes up when I do work with men on the shadow work as well. You need to own this part of yourself as a guy. And I get it. It's counterintuitive and it's hard because we see there's a lot of push in the media for guys to treat women well. And I'm not saying you have to treat women badly, and that's really critical in this. I'm not saying, yes, you are an a-hole. There's a part of you that's mean and cruel and insensitive. Go ahead and express that. I'm saying own that that's part of your desire system. Own that sometimes you want to be cruel and petty, and sometimes you just want to take sexual advantage of women and use them. Admit that that's a part of who you are. That isn't the same as do those things. That's what women are craving. They're craving a guy who can own it without having to express it at her, right? Express it, I mean, do those things to her. And likewise, you're attracted to women who owns the darker side of herself as well, whether you like it or not. There's a book out there called Why Do Men Date Bitches? And really, ultimately, that's what's behind that as well. We want a woman who knows her darker nature, who owns it, but doesn't express it to us. So, yeah, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this. This is something that already ties in nicely to the shadow work that I do with men, but it is controversial and it's difficult to absorb. And if you guys would like to see more videos on this topic, let me know, because it's definitely the kind of stuff that I'm really heavily involved in right now when I work with guys. As always, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and a like, and I look forward to seeing you in my future videos.